I spent 25 years thinking I had built something real, something solid, a marriage that could withstand time, routine, and the small, inevitable disappointments of life. I wasn't naive. I knew passion cools, that love shifts from fire to embers, that comfort sometimes replaces thrill. But I believed comfort was a privilege. That a wife who came home every night to a man who put her first, who made sure she never worried about a bill, who remembered her favorite wine without being reminded, who held her hand even when no one was watching, was a wife who appreciated what we had. I was wrong. It was a Tuesday night, and I was in the kitchen, fixing Lisa's laptop. She had been complaining all week about it running slow, saying she needed it for work, though I couldn't remember the last time she actually brought work home. She had stepped out for one of her girls' nights, the ones that always started with dinner and ended with her stumbling in at 2 a.m., smelling like expensive cocktails and someone else's cologne. I almost didn't see it. Her screen had been frozen, so I restarted it. Simple fix. But when it booted back up, her Messenger app popped open, right on a group chat with her friends. My eyes weren't even looking for anything. I was about to close it when a message caught me like a bullet between the eyes. God, he is so boring. I don't even know how I've lasted this long. My stomach tightened. The words were from Lisa. My Lisa. I scrolled up. He thinks he's such a great husband just because he pays for everything. Like, congrats on doing the bare minimum. I deserve better. I just need to wait for the right time to leave. My hands clenched so hard I heard my knuckles pop. I scanned further. She was bragging, telling her friends how she was playing the long game, that she had been meeting someone new, someone who makes her feel alive and actually knows how to have fun. I read every word, every little knife she had driven into my back without me ever feeling the blade. And then I stopped breathing altogether. The second I locked down the money I need, I'm gone. He won't even see it coming. I stared at that line for a long time, longer than I should have. I felt the shock first, that slow, creeping kind that numbs you, making you believe for a moment that you've misunderstood, that there must be some context you're missing. Then the humiliation set in, the sheer, searing shame of realizing that the person you had trusted with your life saw you as nothing more than an ATM with a wedding ring. That while I had been making plans for our future, she had been making plans for her exit. But the humiliation didn't last long. It burned itself out, leaving behind something else. Something colder, sharper, more useful. I placed her laptop back on the table, exactly where she had left it. I shut the screen, wiped any trace of my presence, and walked away. I didn't confront her. I didn't smash things. I didn't scream. Lisa thought she was playing the long game. She had no idea I had just decided to play one too. I woke up the next morning and did exactly what I had done every morning for the past 25 years. I made coffee. I kissed my wife on the cheek when she walked into the kitchen, still in her silk robe, still smelling like the Chanel perfume I had bought her for our anniversary last year. I asked her how she slept, and I smiled, because now I knew. Lisa had no idea she was drinking coffee made by a man who had read every single one of her betrayal-laced messages the night before. She had no clue that while she was lazily scrolling through her phone, probably texting that younger guy from her gym, I was already planning how to dismantle the life she thought she had control over. I watched her, really watched her, for the first time in years. She wasn't my wife. She was a stranger who had been living in my home, wearing my last name, spending my money, and kissing me goodnight with a mouth that had been whispering about her escape plan into someone else's ear. The rage was there. Oh, it was there. It clawed at my ribs, begged me to drag her out of that chair and scream in her face. You think I'm boring? Let's see how boring your life gets when you're broke and alone. But I didn't, because rage wouldn't win this. I would. So, I poured her another cup of coffee. I told her she looked beautiful. I asked if she wanted to go out for dinner that weekend. Maybe try that new Italian place she had mentioned. And I let her think I was still the clueless, devoted husband. Lisa leaned into it effortlessly, almost too effortlessly, as if she had been playing this role for so long that lying came easier than breathing. She laughed, tucked her hair behind her ear, and said, "That sounds nice, babe." Babe. She had probably called the other guy that too. I swallowed down the bitterness and reminded myself, this is a game now. And I play to win. Over the next few weeks, I noticed everything. How she started going to the gym more often, always wearing new leggings and sports bras that were a little too flattering for a woman who claimed to just be there for stress relief. How she kept her phone glued to her hand, angling the screen away from me like a teenager hiding texts from their parents. How she started talking about our money more. One night, as we sat on the couch, she casually asked, "So, when do you think you'll retire?" I glanced at her, keeping my face unreadable. "I don't know. Maybe a few more years?" "Why?" She shrugged, pretending to be indifferent. "Just curious. You've worked hard. You deserve to enjoy life. Maybe we could start looking into, what do they call it? A nest egg? Just to be smart about things." A nest egg. I had to grip my beer bottle tighter just to keep from laughing. She wasn't even trying to be subtle. She was testing the waters, seeing how much she could dig out of me before she made her move. I wanted to look her in the eyes and say, "Oh, don't worry, Lisa. I've already started working on my retirement plan. It just doesn't include you." But instead, I just nodded and said, "That's a good idea. We should talk about that soon." She smiled. She actually smiled. She thought she was winning. She thought she was setting the stage for her perfect exit. She had no idea that the walls were already closing in around her. The first thing I did was call my lawyer. Not from my phone. Not from my home office. Not from anywhere Lisa could track. I drove 40 miles out of town to a place where no one knew me, found a small law firm in a strip mall between a nail salon and a tax service, and walked inside like a man about to bury a body. The lawyer, a guy named Mitchell who looked like he'd seen every dirty divorce trick in the book, leaned back in his chair and listened as I laid it out for him. "My wife is planning to leave me. She's waiting until she thinks she can drain me dry before she does." Mitchell didn't even blink. "And you want to make sure she gets nothing?" I smiled. "Not just nothing. I want her to think she's about to hit the jackpot, right up until the moment she realizes she's bankrupt." Now that got his attention. I spent the next 2 hours in that office, going over every detail. Our accounts, our assets, my income, my investments. Mitchell walked me through exactly how to move everything without Lisa suspecting a thing. Step 1. Open new private accounts, ones she had no legal access to. Step 2. Transfer my direct deposits there and slowly stop using the joint account. Step 3. Shift ownership of my biggest assets, my business, my stocks, even the car she loved driving, into a trust she couldn't touch. Step 4. Change the beneficiaries on my life insurance. Because guess what? Lisa wasn't getting a dime if something happened to me. Mitchell's only concern? She might notice the money moving. I shook my head. She doesn't watch the accounts closely. She's too busy planning her exit to see that I'm already ahead of her. He nodded. Then let's bleed the joint account slowly. Small transfers. Things that look like routine expenses. And that's exactly what I did. Back at home, I started making changes. Nothing big. Nothing obvious. Just small, calculated moves that Lisa didn't even notice. I stopped using the credit card we shared and started using one she didn't know about. I told her I was tightening up expenses for a while, an excuse so weak I expected her to question it. But she didn't. She barely paid attention. She was too busy laughing at texts from her gym boy toy and planning a future she'd never have. And then, just for fun, I left a few bait statements for her. One night over dinner, I sighed and said, "You know, I've been thinking. Maybe it's time I slow down at work. Take it easy. Let the money work for me." Lisa's eyes lit up. She played it cool, but I saw the calculation behind her smile. She thought I was about to retire. She thought I was about to cash out everything. I could almost hear the gears turning in her head. How much longer should I wait? How much can I get? What's the perfect moment to strike? I sat there across from her, eating my steak, knowing that every bite tasted better because the woman sitting across from me had no idea her financial lifeline was already slipping through her fingers. Lisa thought she was running the game, but she was just a pawn in mine. Lisa had no idea how closely I was watching her. She still floated around the house like a woman who had already won, humming to herself as she got dressed for the gym, texting constantly with that smug little half smile she thought I never noticed. But I noticed. I noticed everything. And now, it was time to push just a little, to see how deep the rot went. We were sitting on the couch one night, some crime show playing in the background, when I hit her with the first question. If you had $1 million, I asked, keeping my voice light, what's the first thing you'd do? Lisa barely looked up from her phone. Oh, I take care of myself first, of course. She said it so easily, so naturally, as if it was the most obvious answer in the world. Not we'd go on a trip. Not I'd pay off the house. Not I'd invest it for our future. Just herself. I smiled and nodded. Smart. Lisa smirked, assuming I was impressed with her practicality. I wasn't, because that was the moment I knew. She wasn't just fantasizing about leaving me. She was planning for it. A few nights later, she left for one of her girls' nights. Another lie, another excuse. I watched her drive away, waited until her car disappeared down the street. Then I went upstairs to our bedroom. Lisa had always been territorial about her stuff, never letting me organize or clean her side of the room. I used to think it was because she was particular. Now I knew better. I went straight to her dresser. Third drawer. I don't know why I picked that one. Call it instinct. And that's where I found it. A folder tucked beneath a pile of scarves and old birthday cards. I flipped it open and there it was. Printed out emails from a divorce lawyer. Budget calculations. How much she would need to live comfortably after she left. A list of demands. Alimony. The house. The car. The savings. She had it all mapped out. Dates, numbers, worst-case scenarios, backup plans. My wife wasn't just betraying me. She was engineering my downfall. I stood there for a long time, holding that folder in my hands, feeling something inside me settle into place. I should have been angry, but I wasn't. Not anymore. Because now I had proof. Now I knew exactly what she wanted. And that meant I knew exactly how to take it away. I put the folder back exactly as I found it. Then I walked out of the bedroom and poured myself a drink, feeling something I hadn't felt in weeks. Satisfaction. Lisa thought she had this all figured out. But she had no idea. She had just handed me the blueprint for her own destruction. Lisa had always complained about my fishing trips. Ugh, you're really going to be gone all weekend? Again, she'd groan, rolling her eyes as I packed my gear. It's so boring. You just sit in a boat all day doing nothing. I used to defend it. Tell her how peaceful it was, how it cleared my mind. This time, I just smiled. Yeah, babe. I'll be out at the lake all weekend. No cell service, just me and the fish. Lisa barely hid her excitement. Oh, well, enjoy yourself, she said, her tone just a little too casual. I had never seen her so eager to get rid of me. Instead of driving to the lake, I went 2 towns over to my old friend Mark's cabin, a place Lisa had never been. Mark was the kind of guy who minded his business but owed me a favor, and when I explained what I was doing, he just grinned and handed me a beer. Damn, man, he said, shaking his head. This is cold. Yeah, I said, taking a sip. That's the point. Mark had a security system at the cabin, complete with remote access cameras. That gave me an alibi. If Lisa decided to check, I could prove I was away. But the real cameras were back at home. The minute I was gone, Lisa wasted no time. By Friday evening, she was dolled up like she was in her 20s again. Tight dress, perfect makeup, that confident little smirk. The one I used to think was sexy. Now I just saw arrogance. I watched everything remotely, my phone screen lighting up with security feeds from the house. At 8:43 p.m., the gym guy showed up. Tall, muscular, younger. The type of guy Lisa probably thought she deserved. She let him in, gave him a long, slow kiss right in my house, standing on my floors, under my roof. And I just watched. Because the real win wasn't catching her in the act. The real win was what came next. They made themselves comfortable, too comfortable. Lisa poured him my whiskey. He kicked off his shoes and stretched out on my couch. They laughed, flirted, completely secure in the belief that I was an idiot. Lisa thought she was free, that she was playing me for a fool. But I was watching, recording, documenting every second. And when they finally disappeared upstairs, I simply saved the footage to multiple secure locations and poured myself another drink. The next morning, I sent Lisa a text. Me, hope you're having a good weekend, babe. Caught a big one today. Her reply came instantly. Lisa, that's great. Can't wait to hear all about it. Lying came so naturally to her. I set my phone down, staring at the screen for a moment. Then I laughed. A real, deep, satisfied laugh. Because Lisa still thought she was winning. And that was what made this so damn fun. Lisa thought she had it all figured out. She thought I was still the clueless, doting husband, oblivious, predictable, boring. She was about to learn just how wrong she was. Sunday night, I returned home from my fishing trip. Lisa greeted me at the door with a perfect performance, a long, drawn-out hug, a kiss on the cheek, and that overly sweet, guilty smile people wear when they think they've gotten away with something. "Missed you," she purred. "I'll bet you did." I smiled back, set down my duffel bag, and casually pulled a stack of papers from inside. "A little bait." "Ugh," I groaned, stretching. "I forgot I left these in my bag. Need to sort through them later." Lisa barely glanced at them, just a few sheets of paper, nothing that interested her. I made sure she saw me toss them onto the kitchen counter before heading upstairs. Then I waited. It took her 20 minutes. I watched from the upstairs railing as Lisa walked into the kitchen, phone in hand, scrolling through whatever meaningless text she was sending to her side piece. She paused when she saw the stack of papers. Her eyes flicked toward the stairs, making sure I wasn't around. Then she picked them up. Her casual curiosity lasted all of 3 seconds. Then I saw it. Her entire body stiffened. Because right there, in bold black letters, was a printed bank statement showing that I had transferred every single dollar out of our joint account into a private account under my name only. Her breathing hitched. She flipped through the pages, frantic. Her head snapped up toward the stairs again, checking if I was coming. And then, panic. I could hear it. The sharp intake of breath. The shaky exhale. The way her fingers gripped the paper too hard. She bolted for the living room, snatched her laptop off the coffee table, and threw herself onto the couch. I could practically hear the keys clacking as she rushed to log into our bank account. Loading. "Come on, Lisa. Let's see that pretty little face of yours when you realize you're screwed." Then, access denied. She froze. I watched her try again. Faster this time. Access denied. Her mouth fell open. Her hands shook. Lisa slammed the laptop shut and grabbed her phone, pacing in circles like a caged animal. A moment later, I heard her call someone, her best friend, Jessica. The second Jess picked up, Lisa's voice came out ragged. "He can't do this to me." Her tone had changed completely. Gone was the smug, calculating woman who had been so sure she had the upper hand. Now, pure desperation. Lisa dropped onto the couch, one hand gripping her forehead as she ranted. "I don't understand. He's never done anything like this before. What if he's planning something? What if he knows?" Jessica, ever the enabler, tried to calm her down. No, babe, you're just overthinking. Maybe it's a mistake." Lisa shook her head violently. No, I checked. The account is practically empty. He's moved everything." "Jessica, what the F *** am I supposed to do?" I leaned against the railing, smiling to myself. "You panic, Lisa. That's what you do." Lisa stood up and started pacing again. She was spiraling fast. Okay, maybe I can still fix this. Maybe if I... She stopped. Her whole body tensed. Then, slowly, she turned toward the stairs. I stepped into the light, looking down at her from the second floor. She was white as a ghost. I raised an eyebrow. "Everything okay?" Lisa swallowed. "Hard." "Yeah," she croaked, forcing a smile. "Yeah, everything's fine." I nodded. "Good. You look like you've seen a ghost." She laughed nervously. Just stressed. That's all." I smirked. "Don't worry, babe. Everything's under control." I turned and walked away, leaving her standing there shaken, unraveling, and, for the first time, terrified. Lisa finally realized something was wrong. But it was too late. The morning I filed for divorce, I felt nothing. No anger. No sadness. No hesitation. Just a quiet, focused satisfaction. Lisa thought she had me backed into a corner, waiting to be discarded when it suited her. She had no idea that I had already burned the whole damn house down around her. I walked into my lawyer's office, placed a thick folder of documents on his desk, and took a seat. Mitchell, my attorney, flipped through the papers, nodding as he read. The man had a face like stone, but I could see the hint of amusement behind his professional demeanor. "She's going to lose her mind," he muttered, flipping to the next page. "Good," I said, leaning back. Everything was airtight. The financial shifts were complete. Every asset, Every investment, every dollar she thought she had access to was already long gone. The evidence of her affair was documented, time-stamped, and irrefutable. Video recordings, screenshots of messages, a paper trail she could never explain away. The state laws were in my favor. Infidelity meant no alimony, no spousal support, not a dime. Lisa had played a long game. Mine was just better. Mitchell tapped a pen against his desk. Once she's served, she'll probably try to contest it. I smirked. She can try. She's not getting anything. I know. Mitchell shook his head. You really planned this down to the last detail. I exhaled slowly, staring at the divorce petition in front of me. She wanted to ruin me. I said simply, I'm just returning the favor. And with that, I signed my name. Lisa was served the next morning. I wasn't there to see it, but I imagined the moment of impact. The moment when the papers were placed into her perfectly manicured hands. When she saw my name under petitioner instead of hers. When she realized that the life she had been so carefully constructing had just been ripped out from under her. But I didn't have to wait long for confirmation. At 10:32 a.m., my phone rang. Lisa. I let it ring. She tried again. And again. By noon, I had 6 missed calls and a text that simply read, John, we need to talk. Now. I smiled, took my time, and finally texted back. Busy. Later. She responded instantly. You can't do this. John, please, just talk to me. Please. The first crack in her confidence. I let her stew for another few hours before finally walking through the front door that evening, acting as if nothing was wrong. Lisa was waiting in the living room, pacing. She looked different, frazzled, uncertain, weak. The moment she saw me, she launched forward. John, what the hell is this? She shoved the divorce papers into my chest. This has to be a mistake. You can't just do this. I looked down at the papers, pretending to be thoughtful. No, I think I can. Lisa's face twisted. John, let's talk about this, okay? We can figure this out. I tilted my head. Figure what out? Her lips pressed together. You blindside me with this, and now you're acting like this is just some business transaction? I laughed, because that's exactly what she had tried to make it. Oh, Lisa, I sighed, shaking my head. You were supposed to be the one leaving me, right? You were supposed to take half, walk away with everything while I sat here wondering what the hell happened. She flinched. I took a slow step forward, lowering my voice. But that's not happening, is it? She tried to hold her ground. I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, I think you do. I leaned in just a little. I think you know exactly what's happening, I murmured. And I think, for the first time, you're realizing you never actually had control. Lisa swallowed hard. John, you wanted to destroy me. I continued, voice calm, steady. And you failed. And now? Now you get nothing. Her breathing hitched. Panic. Real panic. You. She shook her head, grasping for an angle, a way out. You're being cruel. I laughed. I couldn't help it. Cruel? I echoed, raising an eyebrow. Cruel is planning to leave your husband while sleeping in his bed every night. Cruel is mocking him behind his back while spending his money. Cruel is what you tried to do to me. Lisa's eyes glossed over. Reality was hitting her hard, and I let her sit in it. Let her feel the weight of what she had lost. Then, finally, I sighed and ran a hand through my hair, pretending to look conflicted. I didn't want this, I said, forcing a note of false regret into my voice. But Lisa, you gave me no choice. She latched onto it immediately. Then we can fix this, she pleaded. John, I made a mistake, I held up a hand, shaking my head. It's too late. Lisa's mouth opened, then closed. And then, her knees finally buckled. Her entire body seemed to deflate. The smugness, the arrogance, the power she thought she had, gone. She had spent years waiting for the perfect moment to betray me. But I had beaten her to it. Lisa wasn't done fighting. Even after the divorce papers, after the late-night panicked calls to her friends, after staring at me with wide, pleading eyes as she realized she was about to lose everything, she still thought she could win. That's what made this next part so much sweeter. Tuesday afternoon, Nordstrom. Lisa had always been a stress shopper. Whenever life didn't go her way, she drowned herself in designer labels and overpriced handbags, convinced that looking expensive made her problems disappear. And today, she was desperate for a win. So she did what she always did. She walked into her favorite store, picked out a pile of clothes she didn't need, and strolled up to the counter like a queen ready to claim her throne. The cashier smiled politely. "That'll be $3,218.94. Lisa barely glanced up as she slid our joint credit card across the counter. "Just put it on this." The woman took the card, swiped it. Declined. Lisa blinked. "Oh, try it again." Swipe. Declined. A prickle of unease crawled up Lisa's spine. She forced a laugh. Banks, right? Let me just check something real quick." She pulled out her phone and logged into the bank app. Except, she couldn't log in. Error. This account is no longer accessible to you. Her hands shook as she tried again. And again. And again. The screen never changed. Lisa's stomach twisted. Just hold these for me," she told the cashier, grabbing her purse and rushing toward the exit. She called the bank the second she stepped outside. "Hi. Yes, I'm having an issue with my account. I can't seem to access it." The rep on the other end clicked away on a keyboard. "All right, ma'am, I can check that for you. Can I verify your identity?" Lisa rattled off her information, tapping her nails against her purse impatiently. More clicking. A pause. And then, "I'm sorry, but this account is no longer under your access." Lisa's heart dropped. What do you mean?" she demanded. "It's a joint account." Another pause. Then a colder response. "This account has been closed and fully transferred under the sole ownership of John Carter. As of last week." Lisa's knees almost buckled. "No," she snapped, voice shaking. "That's not possible. He can't do that. He can't do that." The rep cleared their throat. "I'm sorry, ma'am, but it appears all legal processes were followed. Your access was removed per the primary account holder's request." Primary account holder. John. Lisa's breath came in sharp, panicked gasps. This wasn't real. This wasn't happening. Her head spun. The bank rep was still talking, something about legal paperwork and transferred ownership, but Lisa wasn't listening anymore. She was already racing to her car. She ran inside the house 10 minutes later, panting, sweating, unraveling. "John," she screamed. "John, where the hell are you?" No answer. She stormed into the living room. Empty. The kitchen, empty. She took the stairs 2 at a time, her heart slamming against her ribs as she threw open the bedroom door. And then she froze. Because the closet door was wide open. And John's side was empty. Completely. Not a single shirt. Not a single shoe. Not a single trace of him left behind. Lisa's breath hitched. She stumbled backward, the realization slamming into her all at once. He was gone. Not just gone. Gone without a word. Without a fight. Without letting her see it coming. Lisa's hand gripped the doorframe as her vision blurred. Her perfect plan, her carefully calculated betrayal, was nothing but dust now. And the worst part? She had never even seen it coming. Lisa stood in the middle of her bedroom, her pulse hammering in her ears. This wasn't how it was supposed to go. She was supposed to leave me. She was supposed to be the one packing her bags, walking away, arms full of designer clothes and a fat bank account to cushion her new life. Not like this. Not like this. She staggered back, shaking, desperate for control. Maybe he wasn't really gone. Maybe this was some kind of bluff. Lisa spun around, running downstairs, her heartbeat roaring in her ears. "John?" she yelled, her voice cracking. Silence. She burst into the kitchen, fingers digging into the countertops as her mind raced. And that's when she saw it. A single sheet of paper, folded neatly, sitting right in the middle of the kitchen counter. Lisa's breath hitched. She knew what it was before she even picked it up. Her hands trembled as she unfolded the letter. "Lisa, you were right. I was boring. So I found something more exciting, watching you lose everything. Hope it was worth it. John." Her entire body went cold. Lisa's hands clenched around the paper, her nails biting into the edges. Her vision blurred, her breath hitched, then she screamed. A raw, guttural, animalistic scream. She ripped the letter apart, tearing it into shreds, flinging the pieces across the kitchen like they were made of fire. Her entire body shook with rage. She had played the game so carefully, moved the pieces just right. She had waited. calculated, manipulated. And yet, he had played her. Lisa slammed her fists against the counter, her whole body thrumming with fury. This wasn't over. It couldn't be over. She had lost the money. She had lost John. But she could still recover. Couldn't she? Lisa sucked in a breath, her mind latching on to the only thing she had left, the gym guy. Maybe he could help her. Maybe he'd take her in. She grabbed her phone, hand shaking, and fired off a text. Lisa, hey, babe. Can I see you tonight? Delivered. Lisa clutched the phone like a lifeline, her nails digging into the screen. She waited, and waited, and then the three little dots appeared. A response. Finally, her breath caught in her throat. Then the dots disappeared, and no message came. Lisa's stomach dropped. No, 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 no. She sent another text. Lisa, hey? Delivered. No response. Her grip tightened around the phone until she thought it might shatter. She had lost John. And now? She was losing everything else. Lisa sat on the kitchen floor, knees pulled to her chest, the shredded pieces of John's letter scattered around her like confetti from a celebration she was never invited to. Her breathing was shallow. Her mind raced. No, this isn't how this ends. She was smarter than this. She was a survivor. She just needed a plan. Step 1, the lawyer. She scrambled to her feet, nearly tripping over herself as she grabbed her phone and dialed the number of the divorce attorney she had been secretly considering for months. The one she had planned to use against John. The receptionist picked up. Silverman and Associates, how can I help you? Lisa licked her lips, trying to steady her voice. Hi, I need to schedule an appointment. My husband just served me divorce papers, and I need representation. Understood. May I have your name? Lisa Carter. A pause. The sound of typing. Then, I'm sorry, but we won't be able to take your case. Lisa frowned. What? Why? Another pause. A careful, professional tone. Your husband has already retained our firm. Lisa's stomach dropped. John. He had beaten her to it. She felt her pulse slam in her throat. Okay, fine, whatever. I'll find someone else. She hung up and immediately started Googling other divorce lawyers in the area, dialing one after another. Every single one? Conflicted out. John had gone to every reputable firm first, even the ones he didn't hire, just so Lisa couldn't use them. She sat back in the chair, her fingers numb against her phone. He planned everything. Every single move, every contingency, every possible escape route. Gone before she even realized she needed one. Her vision blurred. She had nothing. And worse, she had no one. Step 2, the gym guy. Lisa pulled up her messages. Still no response. Her chest tightened. This was just a misunderstanding. He wasn't ignoring her. Maybe he was just busy. She called him. The phone rang. And rang. Then, voicemail. Lisa's fingers trembled as she tried again. Straight to voicemail this time. Her throat burned. No, 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 no. She switched to social media, clicking on his profile. But when she tried to access his page, user not found. Her breath hitched. She checked Instagram. Same thing. Blocked. Lisa's heart pounded in her ears. He was cutting her off. Her last option, her backup plan, was gone. She slammed the phone onto the counter, rage boiling under her skin. He had used her. He had never actually planned to be with her. Lisa let out a broken, bitter laugh. She had thrown away her marriage for a man who never wanted her to begin with. Step 3, her friends. Jessica. She could call Jessica. Lisa fumbled for her phone again, dialing her closest friend, the one who had cheered her on through this entire mess. The call rang 3 times before going to voicemail. Lisa frowned. Weird. She tried another friend. Voicemail. Another. Voicemail. She went to their group chat, the same one where she had bragged about leaving John, the same one where she had mocked him, called him boring, laughed about how easy this would be. And she saw it. The messages had stopped. The last thing she had sent, something about how she would be so much happier once she was finally free, was met with nothing but a single heart reaction. And then, silence. The women who had once hyped her up, fed her delusions, told her she was too good for John, weren't answering. They had seen what happened. They had seen how she had played herself. And now? Now they didn't want to be associated with her downfall. Lisa let out a shuddering breath, gripping the counter as the realization crashed into her. She was completely, utterly alone. Not just financially. Socially. Emotionally. Everything she had built, every lie she had told herself, every plan she had meticulously crafted, was gone. John hadn't just left her. He had erased her. And now? Now there was nothing left. Lisa never imagined it would come to this. She used to sip wine in a designer robe, scroll through vacation packages, and dream about the day she'd finally leave John on her terms. She used to laugh with her friends about all the things she'd do once she was free and wealthy. Now? Now she was standing in the middle of a dingy pawn shop, selling her jewelry just to afford rent. She clenched her jaw as the shop owner, a balding man who smelled like dust and old receipts, picked up her diamond bracelet, turning it over under the harsh fluorescent lights. "This is nice," he said. "I can give you $1,200 for it." Lisa's stomach churned. "$1,200?" she repeated. "This cost 10 times that." The man just shrugged. "That's what I can do." Lisa's hands curled into fists. She had no leverage, no power. She needed the money. She swallowed her pride and nodded. 10 minutes later, she walked out of the shop with a wad of pathetic cash in her purse and a hole in her gut where her pride used to be. This wasn't supposed to be her life. She wasn't supposed to be the broke one, the discarded one, the humiliated one. That was supposed to be John. But John was doing just fine. Lisa saw him for the first time a few weeks later. She was sitting outside a tiny cafe, drinking the cheapest coffee on the menu because she couldn't afford anything else, when she heard it, his laugh. Her spine stiffened. Her pulse spiked. She turned her head slowly. And there he was. John. Happy. Thriving. Better than ever. Lisa's fingers tightened around her coffee cup. He looked different. Lighter. Free. Like a man who had walked away from a burning building without a single regret. And he wasn't alone. Sitting across from him was a woman. Younger, but not too young. Elegant. Classy. Beautiful. And when she leaned in, touching his arm and laughing at something he said, Lisa felt something crack deep inside her. Because she knew that laugh. It was the kind of laugh that said, "I admire you." The kind of laugh Lisa used to fake when she still cared about keeping up appearances. Except this woman wasn't faking it. Lisa clenched her jaw so hard it hurt. And then the final knife. A group of women at a nearby table had noticed John too. "That's John Carter," one of them whispered. "You know, the guy whose wife tried to screw him over but ended up losing everything instead?" Lisa's stomach twisted. Another woman sighed dramatically. "God, he really dodged a bullet with her." A third one snorted. "She must feel like an idiot." Lisa couldn't breathe. The humiliation crashed over her like a tidal wave. She had spent years believing she was better than John, that she could manipulate him, control him, use him. And yet, here he was, flourishing, moving on. And here she was, broke, alone, forgotten. Lisa squeezed her eyes shut, willing herself not to cry, not to scream, not to let the rage and regret swallow her whole. But deep down, she already knew. She had lost. Lisa sat alone in her tiny, bare-bones apartment, the dim glow of her laptop screen the only light in the room. The walls were thin, the neighbors loud. The faucet dripped. The air smelled like stale takeout and failure. She had spent weeks trying to claw her way back, calling old friends, who didn't answer, searching for a better job, which she wasn't qualified for, even trying to flirt her way into another man's life, which failed spectacularly. And now? Now there was only one option left. John. She hesitated for a long time, fingers hovering over the keyboard. Her pride screamed at her to stop, to just suffer in silence. But pride didn't pay the bills. And John was the only one who ever had. With a deep, shaky breath, she typed, "John, I know I don't deserve your kindness after everything that happened. But please, can we at least talk?" She stared at the words, rereading them over and over. They felt small, weak, pathetic. But she had nothing else to offer. She clicked send. And then she waited. And waited. The minutes crawled by. Her heart pounded. Then, a notification. New email. John had responded. Lisa's breath hitched. Her fingers trembled as she clicked on it, her eyes devouring the message. It was one emoji. A smile. Lisa's stomach dropped. Her hands clenched the sides of the laptop, her nails digging into the plastic as she stared at the screen. disbelieving. That was it. That was all he had to say. A single, mocking laugh. Lisa's breathing turned shallow. Her pulse pounded in her ears. She wanted to scream, throw the laptop, burn the world down. But there was nothing left to burn. John had taken everything from her. And the worst part? He didn't even care. The screen flickered in the darkness, the tiny laughing emoji taunting her. Lisa sat there, motionless, her entire life distilled into this one final moment of absolute, crushing defeat. She had played herself. And John? John had won. Forever.